Everybody in officially. My name's Lori Friedman, and you are with Indivisible Marin out here just north of San Francisco in the Bay Area. You are at our state of play call for the California special election. I'm going to get started. We have a lot of information to cover. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we will get started. Okay, welcome again, everyone. Some of you are new, some of you are old friends, but I just want to do a quick review of our organization. Indivisible Marin, we are a legacy chapter of the national group Indivisible. We've been here since 2017. Our founder, Susan Morgan, is still with us as our director, sort of our inspiration every day, and she's been a huge support of these calls. She does all the promotion. Very grateful for that. We have the same mission that we had back then, which is taking action to create a more just, caring, and inclusive America. Never been more important than it is today. We have a threefold commitment to all of our volunteers, no matter where they come from, to put you in the most impactful work available in elections and in off-election years. We have an experienced team of organizers that also bring a really rich professional background with them. And lastly, we're committed to building a community, both here online and in virtually and in person. This work can be difficult, and we just feel that community that provides that extra support can make all the difference. Our membership is 12,000 strong now. We are 40% in Marin County, 30% in California outside of Marin, and 30% in other states. We work nationally in battleground races across the country, as well as here at home in California. Agenda, I'm going to make a few quick introductions for people. We're going to talk briefly about redistricting in general, what the road to the House looks like in 2026, how we got to the need for this special election, talk about what Texas did, how we responded, go into the act in detail, talk about some messaging around it, and then we'll go into our volunteer opportunities. We have great speakers here tonight that are going to present different parts of our volunteer program. Susan Bolle is here from the Bay Area Coalition. She's going to talk about phone banking and canvassing. I'll be covering texting and online postcarding. Joy Martin is our host here for local events, and she'll be talking about hers. And then Susan, our director and founder, will come to you at the end to talk about your personal outreach, merchandise, and fundraising that is going to be going on, and then we'll move into the Q&A. A few redistricting basics just to get us started to provide some context for this election. We have been redistricting since 1790. The Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, as well as the 14th Amendment, directs that federal elections are managed by state legislatures. States themselves have that power. So they've been drawing districts using the census since 1790. The only requirement really comes out of the 14th Amendment that says every district must be of the same size. The only further really restriction was in 1965 from the Voter Rights Act, and that required or made it a crime or illegal to break up a district that was primarily made up of people of color, and that came out of the civil rights movement. But beyond that, it's a pretty loose area. There are a lot of norms that have developed over the years that some states have turned into laws that districts should be compact. They should be made up of common interests, whether that be a racial common interest or perhaps a financial or economic one. Like here in the Bay Area, our wine country is primarily in a district. Our fishing industry in Northern California is primarily in a district. Again, that is to support the common interests of a given group. Note that political party breakdown is not supposed to be a factor in redistricting. It tends to be that way because we fall out more and more with our urban areas and rural areas being more Democratic or Republican, but it's not supposed to be part of the process. A gerrymander is an intentional drawing of lines that favor one party or another. And that's where we sort of cross that line, but there's no strict rule about when a map becomes a gerrymander, and that's made it difficult for lawsuits to proceed in some cases because there's not a gold standard there. There's also an area that we can cover when you look at a state and it seems to be off a little bit. There can be disproportionate districts that occur naturally that you are unable to balance. An example would be Massachusetts, that has about 65% of their voters are, I believe, Democrats, but they have 100% of the districts there because there's no way to create a district for Republicans. They simply are too well distributed across their population. And in states that are very much geared towards or sort of heavily favor one party or another, they usually have a little bit of a disproportionately even higher number of districts because it's impossible to take a minority party sometimes and break them out into districts. So it's a little bit of a messy field, but since 1790, it's been going along fairly well for the country. Some scandals here or there, but when we got into the 80s and 90s, we started to see a lot more gerrymandering as the growth of the Democratic Party actually became more prominent. And we started to see then the first of independent commissions. The first was in Arizona in 2000, and we followed in 2010. We've had 2 cycles now that have gone very well. No complaints here. California is not considered a heavily gerrymandered state. Several times over the last 10 or 15 years, Democrats in Washington have tried to pass a law to require independent commissions across the country. It has failed every time. The last time was for the PEOPLE Act in 2021. So how did this all start? It's the road to the House in 2026. We know the situation we're in. We know that the Republican Congress is not acting as a checks and balances on the executive branch. Right now, we have 215 seats. Republicans have 220. We just need to gain 3 seats to get control. In a normal year, that would be doable for any party in any situation. The minority party usually has a midterm advantage. President's parties historically do not do well in midterms, and with that small of a margin, it's possible that we could clear it. The polls, however, show that that is also a strong possibility. We are leading in voter identification. More and more voters are identifying with the Democratic Party. That doesn't mean they approve of us, but they're identifying more with us. The generic poll, which is a poll that asks people which party you would like to see in control of Congress, is now, we're up about 5 to 6 points there. That is much higher than in 2024. The voter enthusiasm among Democrats to vote in 2026 is much higher than Republicans. And Trump's approval rating, now dipping into the high 30s, is usually sort of a death sentence for a party in the midterms. The challenge is that this isn't 2018 anymore, when there was nearly double the number of seats in play that there are now. Further gerrymandering over the years now, we only have 8 toss-up seats that we could potentially flip, and we need to get 3 of them, plus hold the 10 that we have on our side. That's a stiff map. It's doable. But most people predicting now, the pollers and the strategists are predicting a slight Democratic advantage in the midterms. So what did the Republicans do? They went to Texas. They know that they have to create more seats for them to give them a wider margin. Texas was a natural target because they are also not a heavily gerrymandered state. They had room there to create more seats for themselves. And they do their redistricting through the state legislature, so it could happen very quickly. Currently, they're at 66% of their districts are Republican. These new districts will go make them 80% Republican. And you can look at the before and after maps to see how they've cut back that blue urban vote around San Antonio, Houston, and Dallas. They're going to get 3 for sure new Republican seats out of this, probably 2 more for a total of 5. There have been lawsuits that have been filed already because when they broke up these districts, they did break up communities of color. So there's a lawsuit from the NAACP and a similar organization that serves the Latino community on the basis of racial discrimination. So we'll be following those. Some of those get supported, some of them don't. Again, it's a bit of a gray area, hard thing sometimes to prove. So what did the Democrats do? We had a choice. We could do nothing. And face a map where we had to flip 8 to 10 seats with only 8 opportunities. Obviously, that puts us in a pretty dismal position. So we looked to California for many of the same reasons, because we are not a gerrymandered state and we could create new districts. We're at 83% right now. These maps will take us to 92% Democratic districts. That is just a 9% jump. Again, we're going to be more skewed towards us than Texas because we are more blue, I guess, than they are red. This will give us 3 new solidly blue seats and 2 likely ones for a total of 5. That is proportional to the map in Texas. There have been 3 lawsuits. 2 of them have already been tossed for lack of merit. One of them is very weak and is expected to have the same fate. The reason behind that is the architect that did this. This is a point of misinformation that we need to clear up. These districts were not drawn by our legislature. In California, like in many states, all of our lower ballot elections, our city councils, our school boards, water districts, they all need to draw their own districts also every 10 years. And to do that, they often consult with redistricting firms and companies that do this. Professional statisticians, professional political data people that do this. And so we hired one of them. Paul Mitchell is his name. He's in Sacramento, and his firm drew the districts for us in consultation with Sacramento. And I'm going to drop a link a little bit later about an interview with him that I think is very interesting that people will like to hear. But basically, he was able to do this without violating the Voting Rights Act by keeping communities with common interests together. So this is a legal and constitutional map. What exactly is the law? What does it exactly do? It's called the Election Rigging Response Act. It adds a constitutional amendment to our state constitution, and we need to do that. We don't go through the legislature here, and we need to make an amendment to our constitution to be able to do this. It enacts temporary 4-year emergency congressional maps that expire in 2031. It will retain our independent commission, and they will, in 2031, use the census data from the 2030 census and redraw our maps like they would had this not happened. It sets a special election on November 4th. That's what we need to do constitutionally. It will create the infrastructure we need for an election, and will also fund it so that it doesn't come from the counties themselves. And it commits California to supporting national independent commissions in the future. The process is simple. We had to pass this law, we call it the ERRA, by a 2/3 vote in the state legislature. That happened on August 21st. And then it becomes Proposition 50, and it has to pass by a majority vote in an election, which is now scheduled for November 4th. 2 quick things. The trigger language was removed, and we might have heard something about trigger language early on. That meant that these maps would only be triggered if the Republicans did the same thing, but they went ahead and enacted the new maps in in Texas before we could even get this through our legislature. So it was no longer applicable, and we took the trigger language out. Some people have asked, why are we doing this so quickly? The deadline to put a election on our ballot in November was August 22nd. So it passed on August 21st, just in time. And the reason we have to do a November election is the deadlines for candidates to run for office in any district, including the new ones, starts in December. So this was definitely something that had to be done quickly. In summary, the ERRA is constitutional, it is legal, it is proportional, it is temporary, it is widely endorsed by all major elected Democratic leaders. It's also endorsed by all of the organizations in California that endorse elections. The Teachers Association, the Nurses Association, both unions have done that. This is going to be decided by voters. The districts were drawn independently. It will be decided by us whether or not they are used. And lastly, this is a way to show non-cooperation. If we're not talking tonight so much about the resistance movement and the opposition movement, but this is how everyday citizens can vote and can volunteer to make this happen and to help disrupt the functioning of the Trump administration's plans. One quick final thing, winning strategy. What is our strategy? This is a little bit of a different election. It's a special election. There aren't people involved. Normally in California, we win by pretty wide margins, and we focus quite a bit on low frequency and middle frequency voters. This time we are targeting, in addition, our high frequency Dems, our Dems in Marin County, in Berkeley, in Sacramento, in downtown Los Angeles. This is the group that polls the highest for wanting Prop 50 to pass. These are the people we need to make sure actually get to the polls. For those of you that are coming to us from outside of California, it's an easy state to vote in. Every single person automatically gets a mail-in ballot. You do not need to request them here. Everyone will have them in their mailbox. All they need to do is check the box and mail it. But you'd be surprised sometimes how many people don't get around to doing that here. So that's our one of our high targets. We want to make this personal. We need to give it faces. You're going to see a lot of California and national politicians working towards getting this passed, making it a little more human. We need to connect it whenever we can with Trump and the No Kings movement. We'll be tying those protests together this month. We want to focus again on voter power, that this is up to us. This is not a power grab by Sacramento or politicians, and that we need to message that the goal is to level the playing field. We are not trying to gain an advantage here. We're just trying to keep up. I want to play a quick ad from our Senator Alex Padilla that I think brings in a lot of these.
When Donald Trump's agents threw me to the ground, they were trying to silence all of us. This administration is out of control. Now, Trump's trying to steal congressional seats and rig the 2026 election. We have to fight back. Prop 50, the Election Rigging Response Act, gives voters the power to stop Trump's power grab and protect our fundamental rights. For a democracy in all 50 states, vote yes on 50.
I think that kind of ties it all together. So with that, I want to introduce our first speaker. Susan Bolle is with us. Susan, thank you so much for being here. I know she's so busy tonight, and we are really excited to have her here. Susan is a grassroots leader here in Marin County. She is also the founder and co-leader of the BAC, and the BAC is a coalition of Bay Area grassroots groups that come together to sort of show strength in numbers, power in numbers mostly through phone banking and canvassing, and that group makes it possible for all of us. She's also she's a vice chair of the organizing committee for the California Democratic Party, and so excited to have her. She also has, trying to get to her thing. She's also an elected delegate to CADEM from our assembly district, and she's a member of the Marin Democratic Central Committee. And just want to say a word about that. It is very unusual to have an activist whose hands are both in leadership in the state party and still maintaining her grassroots roots. And so she has a very unique perspective and has a lot of special insights. So I'm going to turn this over to her for a while, and then I'll come back and talk to you guys a little bit later.
Thanks, Lori. Hi, everyone. I'm Susan Bolle, as you heard from Lori, but I want to take a second to thank the two of the Indivisible Marin leaders who I've worked with closely since 2017. Way back then, Susan Morgan, who I call the queen of getting shit done. She's an amazing leader, and Lori Friedman, two of the best organizers I work with. They really are incredible. So thank you for inviting me tonight. So right now, I think you're seeing my slides, right, Lori? Yeah. So, okay. So the Bay Area Coalition, Lori mentioned that. That's the BAC. And you'll see on that slide, there's Indivisible Marin. They're one of our partners. And you can see also up at the top right, California Democratic Party is a really close partner in our coalition in Northern California. And we have many members in Southern California too. But most of the swing lefts and the sister districts and the Indivisibles in the Bay Area are all part of our coalition. And the reason we formed the coalition was we wanted to be as efficient and effective as we possibly can. We don't have time to duplicate effort anymore. We really need to be working together. So on the next slide, you can see our website. You can check that out for updates on all the things we're talking about today. We have information on canvassing, which we'll be talking about, and the next topic, which is our Zoom phone banks that you can all join all around the country. So on the next slide, we have, let's see, yeah, that's our website, the Bay Area Coalition, and BAC, it's bayareacoalition.org. And then there are going to be links in chat along the way for the things I'm talking about. So on the next slide is our most chilling and horrible image of our flag upside down, SOS. We are in one of the worst periods in our democracy. We're all frightened, we're all anxious, and we must win back power. We have to fight for our democracy. We have to be able to advocate for the people again, not a government by the bullies for the billionaires. We all have issues we're passionate about and that we'd like to see brought to the fore again instead of self-serving, self-enriching leaders. Well, I won't even call them leaders. It's absolutely essential that we bring those passions to our work and make sure that we can translate our anxiety and energy into action. So that's what I'm going to talk about tonight, is how we bring that passion back. Because it's very easy for us all to feel really debilitated, tired, exhausted. We don't have time for that. So in the next slide, I just want to show you one of the things that just absolutely just astonishes me, that ICE is actively recruiting. This is like a bit of humor, but it's dark humor. They actively recruiting 18 and 19-year-olds who have no credit, no morals, they're violent, all these things. They're January 6th veterans. And this is very similar to the posters that look like they're right out of World War II, recruiting ICE to, like, thugs to roam our streets in the biggest army, aside from our own US military, in the world. And this is happening right now. So it's a very dark time. And in the next slide, this is how the only way we can stop Trump's authoritarian takeover is to win the 2026 midterms. And you can see two of our most, I mean, the leader of the House, Mike Johnson, no comment, and the other guy. So today, by the way, in terms of winning back the House, our newest Democratic representative was sworn in to replace Virginia's now deceased Jerry Connolly. We have 3 more vacancies to fill in the House right now. 2 of them are Democratic seats. We hope the Texas seat remains as a Democratic seat, but the Arizona seat is definitely a Democrat. And then there's 1 Republican seat. So the power has shifted a little bit in the House again towards a very slim margin for Mike Johnson. He can only afford to lose 2 votes in all the bills coming up. And we know one of the big ones is to fund the government. And that's a whole other topic we won't get into tonight. We're focusing on California tonight. So I think, again, this all goes back to why are we fighting for this and how do we energize ourselves? And I just have to say that this fight that we're in California now, we all need you in the fight with us. Bring your passions. My passion is actually, I'm a gun violence survivor. So my passion is to bring sensible gun laws to our country. What happened yesterday is just another day in America where one gun tragedy actually, interrupts the news for a second, is interrupted by a second gun tragedy. It's just out of control. But there's so many things each of us brings, whether it be healthcare, there's a list of 100 things. So let's bring them to this fight with us in California. We really need your help. So in the next slide, you're going to see how you can help us pass Prop 50. So you heard all from Lori about all the details of this proposition. Absolutely, this is a for the people proposition. This is being brought to the voters. We have a shortest runway of any election I've ever worked in. And I thought last year for our ultimate presidential candidate, Kamala Harris, I thought that was the shortest runway. But this one is, we have less than 7 weeks to get out the vote and make sure that Prop 50 passes and we gain the 5 seats that we have now drawn in California so that we can counter the seats in Texas and next Missouri, just, is in process of passing theirs, gaining 1 more seat. We are going to win this election in a landslide, I'm telling you. The sentiment in our country is so against the Republicans at this moment. The polls are just excruciating. So we just have to keep our heads down and do the work, though. That's the only way we win. And I know that a lot of you are uncomfortable with phone banking and canvassing, talking to people directly, but 2-way conversations are the most effective ways we communicate with voters. They're the most persuasive ways we have. So I say to you, try getting out of your comfort zone and join one of our Zoom phone banks. They're really easy. We have experienced coaches on hand to guide you. You'll have all the background you need. You're going to be using the state-of-the-art auto dialer. That is the best one I've ever used, that allows you to actually text to voters about how they can volunteer and other reasons that you'd be texting throughout the call. And we're calling likely Dems, which is a really great universe of callers. They're not, no Republicans, that they could be people who are, maybe infrequent Dem voters. They're still Dems though, likely Dems. So again, these are Zoom phone banks. They're held Saturday through Thursday. There are 2 shifts every day. So the only day we don't have any phone bank shifts is Friday. And Lori's going to put in chat right now the links that you can join our Zoom phone banks on. And there's one link from our group, Bay Area Coalition, and our group, our group, Bay Area Coalition. Whoa, I think we got ahead in the slides here. It's on.
Sorry.
I see questions and answers. So
yeah, sorry.
That's okay. I'll keep blabbing away here. Anyway, the Zoom phone banks for Bay Area Coalition, we lead Saturday at 2 to 4 Pacific time. Love to see you there. I'm the host that day. Nancy Pelosi may be dropping by here. And then on Tuesday nights, 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific time. And then the second part is we're talking about only to California voters, unless you fly here to help us, like we've flown across the country to help other states. Canvassing kicks off September 13th statewide. We're in Marin. We're going to be joining the Marin Dems canvassing training on September 20th in San Rafael. And all this is, you're going to have details to follow on those 2 actions that you can take. But the Zoom phone banks, anybody can join. And I can assure you that it will be really nice to be in a room of hardworking people from our community of activists together. There's nothing like it. You'll sleep better every night. So down the right-hand corner, you'll see a QR code. Scan that with your phone, just hover, and you can find ways you can take action with Bay Area Coalition. And the links, as I mentioned, are in chat. So I think that's my last slide, right? Yes, it is. So I'm handing it back to Lori, but I just want to take a second just to make sure everybody feels this urgency in this moment. Gavin Newsom, our governor, has been known to say recently, wake up. And I feel like we all need to. We are in an authoritarian takeover. It is absolutely nothing we imagined, and we have to win this we have to pass Prop 50 to have any chance of taking back the House. That is our only way to stop Trump. So I urge you all to get active. There are protests coming up. You're going to hear more about that. We need to use every tool we can to fight back. And with that, Lori, one of the tools we can use is texting. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Susan, for being here. I'm sorry about the slides. My computer's not cooperating tonight.
That's okay.
So I'm going to cover texting really quickly. Our texting coordinator couldn't be here tonight, so I'm covering for her. There is texting in this campaign. It is going to be done through Governor Newsom's group, which is called Campaign for Democracy. And it's an excellent texting program. He's done this over the years in different elections, often nationally, working for different Democratic causes. It is old style texting, back to if you guys texted back in like 2018 and 19, it is along those lines. The way it works for him is through his communication platform, Discord, which is very similar to Slack. If you guys are aware of that, it's basically a large chat room, and you join and you drop in, and you can just text directly through them in this communications platform. It's very easy. He's going to be targeting all the voters in California, especially around the get out the vote. And that's because texting has been found to be most effective in the later weeks of an election as people are actually starting to vote. If you've texted with him before, and many of us have, you have to be retrained. It's a new platform. It's called Scale to Win Text. And you can do this on a drop-in basis. So these aren't phone banks like what Susan was talking about. This is a program where you just drop in at your own convenience during the day and pick up some texts. I was texting today. I was working on my computer. I uploaded like 100 texts and was having those conversations while I was working. Great moderators, excellent training. There's lots of support there. The training will take you through everything that you need to know. You can sign up. There's a link on our website. And for the most part, this is drop in daily from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. most of the days, all the way through Election Day. A couple things about texting, however. It is extremely popular, and in the past, sometimes it will fill up with all the volunteers that they need. So if you are interested in doing this, I advise that you get signed up as quickly as possible and trained. That way you'll be able to text at your own convenience up until Election Day. Online postcarding is something that we've been doing here since the beginning of the pandemic. We work through Activate America, and Activate America is one of the largest and I believe the best postcarding organization in the country. They are very research-based. They are also located here in California, started in California, and even though they work nationally now, it's still their strength. They have excellent lists and have pivoted now to working on this election. In fact, they launched their postcarding the day after the legislature passed the bill. We'll be postcarding through mid to late October. It's important to know with postcarding that you don't go through Election Day because it does shut down. There's that time lag of getting those postcards written and getting them to voters. So it usually shuts down somewhere around the 3rd to 4th week in October. We will be only targeting low frequency voters. They don't work with those high frequency voters because postcards have not been found to be effective with them. It's found to be most effective with the low frequency. This is an extra area where these low frequency voters will get that message. Hopefully 2 to 3 postcards between now and Election Day. We haven't mentioned this yet, but there are 10 million registered Democrats in California. So we have a lot of them to reach. This is a very busy program. I'm really proud of our team. We are writing the most amount of postcards we have ever written. Have already surpassed our monthly totals that we wrote during the 2024 election, which at the time was our highest. People are really stepping up to do this. The process is a little bit different now. They use a program called Sincere. It's a platform. You go in, you make an account, you create a password, and you have your own account. You can go in there and request addresses in the script whenever you want. It's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. A couple of guidelines for those of you that have never postcarded before. You want to make sure that you obtain your supplies before you start. Make sure that you are able to meet that deadline. So make sure that you look at the deadline and only order the addresses that you're able to write during that time. The deadlines are mobile. They'll be moving around throughout the next couple of months as they upload new batches of voters. You want to make sure you use the script as written. We alter the script a little bit when we phone bank. That's great, but we don't do that when we postcard. We really do need to stick to the script. It's professionally written to focus on the unique characteristics of the group of voters that we're talking to. So it may not make sense to us, but it's going to be effective with those voters. And then lastly, we encourage you to have postcard parties. And one of the things I've been most excited about this year is to see how many people aren't just ordering for themselves, but they're ordering for a group of friends and having their own parties. Instead of writing 10 postcards, you're going to write 100. Empower your friends and family, get them involved, get them educated about the election, and really double, triple, quadruple your impact. I'm going to turn this over to Joy for a minute. She's going to talk about our programming here in Marin. It will just take a minute. If you're joining us from outside Marin, be patient because Susan's got a lot of great information after that. On the slide, that is the actual text that we're writing. So just so you know what exactly kind of message you are going to be sending. So Joy, I'm going to send this to you for a minute.
Thank you. Thank you to both you and Susan and everybody who's done such a great job so far. Anyway, if you live in Marin or you're close, we would love for you to join us at Tuesdays at Panera in Novato or Thursdays with Marianne, who's been my partner also in this writing for a long, long time. She hosts Thursday evenings at Ounces. The dates are on the slides. We provide everything. So if you come, when you arrive for a $5 donation, you will get a packet that will give you the addresses. It will give you the script. You'll get stamps, you'll get stars, and you'll get a wonderful community of people to sit down. and write with and talk and get to know. I can't tell you the number of people I've become friends with and I would never have met had we not had this program. So if you're in the area, we hope that you will join us. And Lori, I guess I'm going to turn it back to you or to Susan.
I'll just be real quick here. I just wanted to do a shout out to Mary Ann, who's also here tonight. She hosts the Thursday evening ones.
Yeah.
Joy hosts the Tuesday day ones. And this is sort of a model for what you can do yourself. If you live elsewhere and you want to create your own postcard parties, this is exactly how you do it. So I'm going to turn it over to Susan right now. She'll be talking for a bit about some other actions that you can take as individuals. Again, she's our founder and director. She's the heart and soul of it all. And I'm so grateful that she's here tonight to talk to you. So Susan, it's all yours.
Hey everyone, so good to be together tonight. I've had the benefit of reading the chat comments while Lori and Susan and Joy have presented. And I just want to first address sort of some themes in the chat. A lot of you, I think, are feeling worried and frustrated that the other side, may have more ads on television, might have gotten to our mailboxes first with flyers and all that. And it's true, they have an unbelievable large funder, and a lot of dark money is being poured into that account, into their side, I should say. So it can feel disconcerting, but I want to just remind you all that what we have is us. They don't have the volunteer energy that we have, right? And that is what is going to be most impactful. So really it's on us. Instead of, watching television and worrying about whether we have as many ads or looking at the mail and worrying about the flyers, know that this is in our control because we can door knock, we can make phone calls, we can donate to help our side have more of that mass media. But we're in a very, very good position if we do the work. So that's comforting, right? And there's a couple of things that I want to touch on that are very much personal ways that you can contribute personally. And I'm going to just quickly take a moment to share my screen and go to our website. Let's see here. Okay, so this is our website, indivisibleMarin.org, and we've created a special page that I hope after this meeting you'll all go to. It's easy to find. You can see our nav bar here. You look under elect and then go to California special election. And what we've done, I'm just going to scroll through it quickly, is create a directory. I'm sure as you've heard all this information, you're like, oh my God, how am I going to remember how to sign up for a phone bank, or what's the link if I want a text bank, or where do I go if I want a Canvas? This web page can be your go-to whenever you're looking for something to do. You go here and you've got the full list. There are phone banks, I do want to mention, 6 days a week through the California Democratic Party. The Bay Area Coalition has shifts 2 days a week, and some other groups have it the other 4 days a week. So there's a phone bank practically all the time. And once you're trained, there's actually going to be an opportunity for you to call on your own time. So if you continue to check this page, we're going to keep all those links current. But one of the things that I want to focus on is merchandise, because we don't think of it necessarily as a voter outreach tactic, but t-shirts in particular. And you see this at the top here. We're asking everyone to do this. This is the California Democratic Party's website. You can buy a Yes on 50 t-shirt. And IndiMarin had a lot of experience with the impact of wearing t-shirts out in public, because last year we had a whole program, Dems Make Life Better, where people wore t-shirts, and the objective was to have conversations out in public. And you'll be surprised if you buy a t-shirt or two and just commit to wearing it. Like, why not every day? Every time you go to out running errands, pop on your Yes on 50 t-shirt, and you will be surprised how many people either give you a thumbs up, hey, yes, that's great. Or "Hey, what's that? I've seen a lot about 50. What is that?" And you end up having conversations. And if someone's enthusiastic and gives you the thumbs up, you can say, "And did you know you can volunteer? Just go to indivisibleMarin.org and sign up." So it becomes a conversation piece. I wore my Dems Make Life Better t-shirt all through the 24 campaign and talked to people on dog walks, talked to people at Home Depot, talked to cashiers. Lori was telling me a story recently where she was wearing a pro-democracy t-shirt, had to run to the vet unexpectedly, and ended up talking to all these people in the waiting room. So this is $32, very well spent. It does take a little while to get them, so please order tonight. They have lawn signs, they have buttons, but by doing this personal outreach, wear it if you go to a party, right? Just be a walking billboard for Prop 50. The other thing I wanted to talk about is fundraising, because again, you guys have been mentioning in the chat that it's frustrating to see the other side outspending us on the airwaves, and they are. So again, it's up to us. They have a lot of big donors, and we can help empower our side by donating. We have the link right here, donate to the Yes on 50 campaign. This takes you to, Governor Newsom is running, he keeps the purse strings on all of the advertising. So if you want to see more ads, please give generously here. And just again, I want to, figure out how to get out of that. Oh, there we go. Stop sharing. I just want to assure you all, we have given you so much information tonight. Please don't feel overwhelmed, because we're going to be following up with a very detailed email that will include all the important links you need. It will include a recording to this meeting if you want to watch it again, or you want to share it with friends or anyone else that you'd like to get involved. And also, we're going to be with you every step of the way. You can reach us at info@indivisibleMarin.org. We answer emails. We're there to support you. And there will be more information coming. The canvassing piece, there's still some details to be figured out. But we will be, through our newsletter, sending you the latest and greatest details on canvassing so that you can get plugged into that as well. So with that, we've got about 10 minutes left for Q&A. So I will just go to my list of questions and try and start covering them. I guess I'd like to ask Lori to comment a bit more on the advertising piece. I think you might have more information than I do about that.
You mean the online and TV ads?
Just in general, the perception that's out there that they're, that maybe they're mounting a stronger campaign than we are.
Well, I think obviously initially they did. A lot of people feel that was a strategic error. It was way too early. Most people hadn't even heard of it. Most people still haven't heard about it. So I think them putting so much effort in the beginning is likely a mistake on their part, but it's true that they have a lot of money right now. It also depends on where you live. Not every ad is going to be seen in every part of the state. So depending on what your stations are and what you're watching, you may see a different ad than maybe Susan and I would see. And that's part of it. But I think that it's okay that we're not at our full peak right now. I think that's fine. And I think I see Susan Bolle nodding her head also. There's still, I know it feels like a short amount of time for us trying to get all the organizing piece done, but in reality, the bulk of this decision-making is still out there. So I think we're fine to wait a while. I have seen some of the early ads. I showed you the Padilla ad. I'm not sure that's actually out yet. But look for ads from people like Nancy Pelosi is going to make one. Barack Obama is going to make one. So they're coming. Susan? Bolle?
Yeah, and oh, Susan and I are used to this.
I know.
Sometimes we're in meetings with 6 Susans.
Hmm.
But I just wanted to say exactly what Lori, to build on what she said. The real, the strategic win in advertising is that you build towards the day when people get their ballots or can vote. They started too early, as Lori said, but this billionaire, Charlie Munger, who's financing, I'd say 80% of their campaign, is anti-LGBTQ, anti-abortion, and a physicist. He has unlimited funds. So we really do need to donate. This is a time when we say, yes, pay attention to the fundraising emails and texts you're getting for to Yes on 50. So, and make sure it's a reputable place you're donating to. But yeah, we will be outspent by this billionaire. Like I said earlier, this is a government run by bullies for billionaires, and he's in that group.
Right, but billionaires can't buy volunteers, the goodwill and spirit of our volunteers. And
The many outweigh the money.
there we go. I love
Well,
that.
and this is not unsimilar to what, or dissimilar to what we saw in the recall election, which was in 2021 when they tried to recall Governor Newsom. It got off to this start too, and he ended up winning like by a landslide. So, like Susan Bolle said, we just have to do the work. We have to put it out there. Nobody's going to do that except us. But if we do that, this is a winnable election for us.
Yeah. So I want to try to move on to some other questions. Well, this is actually a suggestion that from Karen that I think is great. And she's saying that it would be great if there was an elevator pitch for when you're out running errands and wearing your t-shirt. I think that's a great idea. So we'll try to develop an elevator pitch that we can post in our personal outreach section. I will also say, though, that if you volunteer to phone bank, the phone bank script it will be great training for you to be having these conversations. You'll become a pro at having conversations about Prop 50. And quite a number of our volunteers and our leaders have already been phone banking. And reports are that these conversations are really gratifying. People are very interested. We're calling Democrats. And so, and the other thing I just want to say, sometimes I hear people say, oh, I phone banked before. It's not for me. And I'll be, well, when was that? Oh, for Barack Obama, or I did it for Hillary. It's like, no. Phone banking now, the technology is entirely different. We use automated dialers, you get patched through to live voters. And really the script in this conversation is a positive script. So please try this. We're getting great reports from phone bankers, and that's really the bread and butter, honestly, of voter outreach, because it's accessible to everyone. You can do it almost any time of day. So we should all be on the phone a lot, even those of us who are also postcarding or might also be texting or might also be canvassing. Phone banking is something you could, grab a half hour here, an hour there, and do it almost every day.
And I just wanted to add one quick thing
Yeah.
about phone banking, and this is a big compliment to Susan Bolle. We have great data from our phone banking from last year that it really works. I mean, we've seen as much as an 8% increase in people voting that get a phone call. That is more than enough to win this election. It is very, very effective. And California has been phone banking with these voters. We have good lists. We know who to call. The state party is quite strong with that. So it's definitely something that has been proven to be effective here.
I'm glad you corrected the record on that, Lori, because I put it's kind of a lame answer in the chat. So I'm glad you mentioned that. The link to the t-shirts is again on our special election webpage. Just go to indivisibleMarin.org, look for elect special election, and you'll find the link to the t-shirts. Or you could just go directly to CADEM, the California Democratic Party, and they have a store there. Let's see what other.
One thing, Susan, some people have said is about what to do with social media. If you go to stopelectionrigging.com, the website, they have things there that you can just copy and paste to your social media. It's all there. And definitely that's something that's important to do. And somebody asked about how to get young people involved. I have 2 young people in my house and they know more about this election than I do. That's how big it is out there on social media right now. They're always telling me stuff that I don't know. So it's getting out there, but again, it's about all of us pushing it out there every chance that we have. But go to that website. It'll lead you through the social media posting.
Yes, and there's questions about some of
Oh,
this.
and Susan just posted it in the website too, on the chat too.
Great. Sort of the specifics of canvassing. So there is already canvassing ongoing right now in the East Bay and San Francisco, many areas that, you know, aren't that far of a drive. For those of you who are in Marin, we're doing a big kickoff in partnership with the Marin Democratic Party on September 20th. That link is on our webpage, and encourage all of you to sign up for it. That will be a really important opportunity to be trained. And after the training that day, because the event is from 10 to 3, after we're all trained, people will break into small teams and go out as a team. And IndiMarin will be having some team captains leading on some of those teams. So we'll be doing a lot of, you know, mentoring and coaching along the way. And we'll be getting you all the details as it gets closer. The other thing that's being encouraged is, in addition to showing up to these canvassing events, as we get a little bit further along, people will be encouraged to canvass in their own neighborhoods using an app. It's called, I believe, PDI Connect, or I don't know. It's an app.
PDI on the go.
A PDI on the go, thanks. And it's tied to the California Democratic Party. And there will be trainings, Zoom trainings for that. And it's really important that you use the app, because that's where you record that you actually went to such and such a house, and whether the person said, yes, we're going to vote yes or no, because all that information needs to get back to the California Democratic Party so that then they can do the subsequent follow-up. Like if somebody canvassed a house and the person was like on the fence, they didn't know how to vote, well, they might be put on a list for a phone call or a postcard, right? But this is all something that it's not that hard, these apps, and there will be trainings. And then within the next couple of weeks, you'll be empowered to just walk around your own neighborhood with your app and talk to your neighbors and people that live near you. So there's so many different ways that you all can get involved. And we're going to just be keeping you posted over the next 2 months. So we're at the top.
Ballots drop October 6th, the week of October 6th and 7th.
We're at the top of the hour. I just want to see if either Susan and Lori, if you have any closing comments.
Just thank you all for being here. I know some of you are here from outside California, and can't tell you how I probably speak for everybody on this call. To see that is so gratifying for us, because we do spend a lot of time working outside of our state and other election years, and to see people coming back and helping us is amazing. And I mean, I'm not an expert on referendums in the United States, but I would be hard pressed to have any state election that has ever had more national implications than this one does. So it may be happening in California, but this is a national election.
Yeah, I'd have to add to that. This is our moment. This is the only way we can stop Trump, is by winning the House in 2026. And this is the best way we can win the House, is by adding these 5 seats to offset the Texas seats and upcoming Missouri, Ohio, Indiana. Who knows how many? They'll find a few seats in every state. And someone asked earlier, are there other states, Dem states, who are planning to do this? And yeah, Illinois, New York, and Maryland are working on it. I don't know if New York's going to be able to do it, my home state. That's really hard, but yeah, we're working on this. This is our best chance, though. So please, like, reconsider, your biases against phone banking. There are a lot of great comments in chat. These are really good calls. It's a great call tool. You'll talk to In some of our phone banks, people were talking to 30 voters in one phone bank. And I gotta say, 90% of the calls are, yes, we are for it. So please join phone banks. The links are in chat. If you scroll up, and I'll put them in chat again. And Susan mentioned the website. Your go-to, the IndiMarin website, has all the ways you can volunteer. So that's my last message.
Yeah, and we will send you an email. I know we've thrown a lot at you, a lot of links, a lot of details. We're going to send you a follow-up email that has everything you need, but you don't need to wait for the email, because you can also go to indivisibleMarin.org, elect, California special election, all the links are there. And you can get started phone banking this weekend. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thanks for being
Thank you
part
for
of the
coming,
fight.
everyone, and thank you for working with us.
We appreciate you all. Good night.